Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing more of the Banished seasonal events, which is an alternate game mode in which after we choose our starting hand, our entire deck gets banished. Today we're going to try a new deck that is also capable of taking down the Nilfgaard meta, so let's go give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Scoia'Tael Harmony deck that combines getting boosts from Harmony, dealing damage, and removing our opponent's cards with poison. So that of course means we'll get big Harmony engines like Saskia, Weeping Willow, Percival, the Half-Elf Hunter, the Dryad Ranger, the Trained Hawk, and of course, Denna with our leader ability. So all of those cards get boosted whenever we play a new type of Scoia'Tael unit. And fortunately, we have a lot of different types of Scoia'Tael units. And then if we have a lot of those Harmony engines down there, we can use Barnabas as a powerful finisher because he's one of the few gnome Scoia'Tael cards, and he also gives us some big boosts. Another thing that you saw in some of those Harmony cards was damage, and that's something that the Great Oak can do as well, along with the Saber-Tooth Tiger, and Etriel, and Muirlega. Obviously, we'd ideally have both of them in our hand, so if you only have one of them, then try mulliganing one of them out, and also the Cat Witcher. Then you also saw some of those Harmony units have poison, so we added the Forest Whisperer here, along with King Kobra to give us additional sources of poison. Then lastly, we have both Zoltan and Gabor Zigrin in the melee row to give us some resilience for carryover. With all those pieces, we have a really well-rounded deck with a good combination of putting up points and shutting down some of our opponent's key engines. And yes, that can in fact be enough to even beat the Nilfgaard meta. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. Okay, so we have the Saber-Tooth Tiger, which I like when we're going first. We also have Muirlega, but do we have Muirlega's friend, Etriel? I don't think so, so that's one thing we might want to try to swap out, is either find a way to get that, or if not, get rid of Muirlega. I'm not the biggest fan of having two Hawker Smugglers, because remember, we can only trigger Harmony for the first time that we play a human Scoia'Tael unit. Cat Witcher is probably a better alternative in that case. We also don't have enough poison yet, so let's try and find another source of that. Maybe we do get rid of you. And we haven't found it yet, so let's get rid of the Dryad Ranger, and of course there is Etriel. Okay, so let's start with the Saber-Tooth Tiger. We'll use our stratagem and flip the Tiger, and that may be the only card that we play in round one, because it's going to make it really hard for our opponent to keep pace with us. They'll go with Eskel. We'll get hit, and I must say, it is awfully tempting to use the Trained Hawk to move Eskel into the range row where he can no longer get boosted. It does mean using one of our Harmony engines here in what we plan to be a short round, so I'm a little reluctant for that reason, but I guess we'll go for it. Okay, they'll go with Shilard, which we do have, what, a 6 for Barnabas is our biggest card. That is a bit of a hit. But I think what we do here is we actually do pass, because although it is feasible that they overtake us with one more card, that means they might dry pass in round 2 after being a card down, setting up an easy Zoltan for us. Okay, they'll go with the Nilfgaardian Knight, which is just barely enough for them. Okay, and as we said, they were one card down, and so they do dry pass here, and that means this is the ideal Zoltan situation, so let's play him. Because he has resilience. So that means we'll win round 2 and generate some carryover for round 3. Okay, and let's start with the Hawker Smuggler for some hand boosting. Technically speaking, there is something to be said for playing some Harmony units first to get boosted when we play a Scoia'Tael human. So that does make the Hawker Smuggler a little bit of a tough play, but okay, it does get locked here. So now let's play, actually, what is one of our only Harmony units here. It's the Half-Elf Hunter. And then that leaves us with just Saskia and, of course, our leader ability as our only other Harmony alternatives. Okay, they'll go with the Imperial Golem now. That is one of their biggest units. Would have been the target for our poison, but unfortunately we didn't have any in our hand. And so now we're either looking to play our other Harmony unit, Saskia, or our other elves, because they're not going to trigger Harmony, so we're not missing anything out if we don't have Saskia on the board yet. So why don't we go Etriel and damage the Golem. Okay, it's Vilgefortz. And can we tell what they put into their hand? Well, they gave us Rico in our graveyard. And I don't see the Saber-Tooth Tiger, so it might have been that. Now let's use the rest of our Harmony units. So let's go Saskia. And with her, I think we already have both an elf and a dwarf, and we don't have any dryads in hand, so it's not like we have any potential to ruin our Harmony here. Let's go with the dwarf, because we might end up hitting Alba Armored Cavalry if we went the damage route, and he has a point of armor. Now let's use our leader ability. Get our other Harmony unit down here. Like we were saying, just not a lot of Harmony in this hand, unfortunately. So yes, it is a Saber-Tooth Tiger. However, we have plenty of units in both rows, so that's not really a big factor. It is 7 points. Okay, then they'll use our Cat Witcher, which is what we are definitely going to play next. And so we could potentially try to chase that Cat Witcher with our Cat Witcher. And trigger our Harmonies. Unfortunately, it's Armored Cavalry, though. Okay, then it's the Ardfian Tortoise, which we would love to hit the armor on. And now we do need to go with the Sorceress of Dol Blathanna, because otherwise, we're not going to have time to use her Order ability. So let's play her here, in the row where she is not about to get hit by this Cat Witcher. Oh, Yenvo will get rid of her. I mean, it's a decent play, but it's not like we had a huge unit for them to steal. And now, of course, we finish with Barnabas. And we don't have a Dryad to boost, unfortunately, which means we're stuck with just going after Zoltan and one of our elves. And that will trigger Harmony as well. So they have one card here, but we have a pretty sizable lead. Heat Wave will get rid of a 12, but that is not enough, even after their Cat Witcher damage. Alright, so going up against monsters here. And they'll go first. Okay, so a few things we want to check is, if we have poison, do we at least have enough to destroy something with that poison? Yes, we have 2 sources, so yes, that is sufficient. Then, if we have Muirlega, we want Muirlega's friend, who we do not currently have in hand, so let's spend our first mulligan trying to get that. And since we have 2 sorceresses, let's swap one of them out, because we don't love having 2 of the same card, since it doesn't work as well for Harmony. And because we didn't get Muirlega's friend, let's swap you out. Okay, they're going to go with Handboosting? Huh? For monsters? Okay. Well, let's start with one of our Harmony units. They'll go Natural Selection, which is a good play. And one tricky thing for us is that if we're going against Arachas Swarm, then they're generally going to be going wide, not tall, which means we might not have great targets to get rid of with poison, and we certainly don't have a great option yet, so we'd like to delay before using either of these guys. So let's go with the Hawker Smuggler here. Get some hand boosting. We'll go Natural Selection again. And we may want to end this round here, because we would have liked to have had one of our Harmony units stick around at the beginning and or get the hand boosting early on, and with neither of those things working for us, it's going to be hard for us to catch up at this stage. So they'll pass as well. And that means they'll win round 1, but they played one more card than we did. But they will continue to play here, and they're going for more hand boosting. Wow. What are they trying to do? I'm not sure. And now, pacing-wise, Great Oak is the only way that we can catch them with one card here. But since they played one more card than us in round 1, it's maybe not the end of the world if we're on even for round 3. So let's go with the Resilience at the very least with our first play for some carryover. And Arachas Nest this time. So they'll spawn in a bunch of units, and as I was saying, they are probably going to focus on going wide rather than tall, which means we do still have some poison here, but our best target might be Francis Bedlam. Then again, they're doing all this hand boosting. It seems like He might have been the first target of that hand boosting, which is a little bit odd, but he's boosting something else in their hand right now. So now let's get our Harmony units down, like the Trained Hawk. And I think we actually do want to destroy a drone, because although it's just 1 power, they're going to try to get boosts for an entire row, or potentially all of their units across both rows, because that's what Arachas Swarm does. Okay, then it's Spontaneous Evolution, so yep, they're going to try to get as many drones as they can in that melee row. And now, since we are out of Harmony units, let's use our leader ability here, so that whatever subsequent Scoia'Tael card we play, we will get a boost from it. And I'm going to deliberately row stack a bit here, because that way we have more potential for Great Oak. Let's go with the Sorceress here. Okay, they're going... Oh, base Siri. Clever, and that's actually really smart to hit the Sorceress of Dol Blathanna, because now she cannot use her ability unless we play Barnabas here to give her a boost. And it looks like she was the recipient of some of that hand boosting. And we would very much like to destroy her. So I think she does become the target of our poison. And it's not quite enough for us to catch them on this turn. But if they pass here with next turn's poison, we definitely will. But they're going to keep on playing. And yeah, full melee row of drones, so some kind of big boost here. Maybe with Zoltan. That's exactly what it'll be. So now let's use the King Kobra. Get rid of Siri. And I think this might be a Bone Talisman that they're setting up here. That's exactly what it is, so... Yeah, your standard Arachas Swarm setup, it's a pretty decent counter for what we're doing. So now let's do Barnabas. And boost you, and boost you. And now that you are on 6 power, that means we can use your Order ability, and that could be big here. Bountiful Harvest may be our best option. And we're either going to boost Saber-Tooth Tiger or the Great Oak. We'd rather not boost the Saber-Tooth Tiger because transforming it into its artifact form will get rid of its boost. So that means we'd ideally go with you or the middle option with the Dryad Officer. So, okay, sure. Okay, their last play is another Bone Talisman. Oh, that's painful. Yeah, we were getting close, but that's a 20-point lead here. So now I think it's got to be Great Oak. And we'll maximize the damage. Against Francis Bedlam, it is just barely enough. And that means, since they played every card, we win round 2 by 1 point, and we're going to automatically win round 3, because they are done. Alright, so going against Scoia'Tael here. And they'll go first. Okay, so we have 2 sources of poison here, so we can get rid of one of their big cards. We have Great Oak, which is a great point slam. Saber-Tooth Tiger, which is great when we're leading off a round. However, we're on red coin here. Etriel, we'd love to have Muirlega to go along with that, and we do not currently have Muirlega. So why don't we get rid of the Sorceress of Dol Blathanna, see if we can get it. Okay, well, we don't. Let's get rid of Etriel in that case. And we'll get Percival. Okay, so they're doing all their hand-boosting stuffs. So, could this be an Aglace deck? Potentially. If so, then she would definitely be our preferred target for our poison. And that means they would probably play her on their last turn in round 3, which means we need to make sure that we have last say in round 3. Otherwise, we won't be able to answer that. Okay, so, yep. It's a Hawker Smuggler first. So we could respond with the same thing here. Ours, of course, has not been hand boosted, and so theirs is bigger than ours. Alternatively, we could try to do the Saber-Tooth Tiger, although I don't think it's going to be all that effective, especially not when, even if they don't play any additional cards in their melee row, it still has 2 armor, so it's going to tank the first hit. So yeah, I think we do play the Hawker Smuggler here. Okay, then they go Dunka for more hand boosting. So here's the problem. The longer the round goes, the more hand boosting they get. However, if we pass here, then obviously they're going to outscore us in round 1, so they'll have last say, and that's not good. Unless we get a little bit creative here, and we go with Zoltan, plus our leader ability here, because this way, technically we should have done leader ability first, but we take the lead, so that means either we win on even here, or they keep on playing, go after Zoltan. Okay, well, we do have some engines on the board now with Denna, so I think we might be looking to push fairly aggressively at this point, or at least put down some kind of point slam to discourage them from playing any further. The question is basically, do you do Saskia and outscore them on this turn, or do you do Percival and plan to make this round go a little bit longer? I think we might go Percival. And they probably should pass here, but they don't. They go Watcher of the Valley, and these are some of the cards that they've spent all this time hand boosting. Speaking of hand boosting, they get rid of our hand booster. But now what we do is we go Saskia. And we get a dwarf because we already have a dwarf out here, so we're not going to lose out on any harmony procs that way. That'll give us a boost. It is not quite enough for us to retake the lead, though. But we certainly still have one big point slam remaining with the Great Oak, and a few mid-round cards if needed. Okay, it's Bountiful Harvest for more hand boosting. And they'll get some harmony here. And so Great Oak is enough for us to catch them here. The question is, do we do that right now? Pacing-wise, yes, it makes sense. Unless we think this round is going to continue to go on, in which case we want to play something like the Cat Witcher or the Sorceress of Dol Blathanna. I think we take a little bit of a chance here. Let's go with the Cat Witcher. Because it is actually, if they don't play anything, enough here, if it hits this Watcher of the Valley on our next turn, to at least get us tied. So no, they're going to keep on playing, and they use Dunka's ability, so that suggests that this is going to be the last card that they play. So we could either play a Saber-Tooth Tiger for the point slam, which it's 8 points here because it got some hand boosting, and also it is a beast which would proc some harmonies, so it's actually a solid point slam at that. Or the obvious choice would be Great Oak, but we might want to save that because it's perhaps a little bit better to save for round 3, although what if we go Saber-Tooth Tiger, put it in the melee row? Obviously we're not going to flip it because they have plenty of cards in both rows, so it's not going to deal its damage, and we'll lose our boost on it if we do flip it. But it means that if they do keep on playing, then Great Oak is even stronger. Okay, it's the Hawker Smuggler for more hand boosting. And now Sorceress of Dol Blathanna is sufficient, so let's just go that route. No need to commit to Great Oak yet. Then it's Sheldon. Oh, okay, not what I was expecting to see. That is definitely one of their targets for all their hand boosting, so we have at the very least bled that out. Though it does beg the question, what else have they been trying to target with that hand boosting? I had suspected a Glace. There actually is a bug in this event for Torque, where he will immediately banish himself if he is not in your starting hand, so I don't think one of those cards is Torque. In which case, maybe after bleeding this out, we're okay passing here, and understanding that we won't need to play anything in round 2 with Zoltan, so we'll actually maintain card advantage. So that means they'll win round 1, but we bled out a lot and we gained resilience. Okay, so they will dry pass, which means that's all we need here is this 1 point from Zoltan. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to lead off with the Great Oak. No cards on the board right now, so that means no way to deal extra damage or boost it. But it is still 9 points. Then whatever it is they play here becomes the target of our poison. And, well, apparently they don't have anything left that they like, so they just pass. It must have been Sheldon that was the target of all those boosts, because they forfeit. So there's a look at a Scoia'Tael Harmony deck for the new Banished seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.